Welcome to episode 32 of Hair Biz Radio with your host, Zakiyrah and
Mikey.
And today we have the lovely Byrd checking in with us. She is a makeup artist, creative director, and instructor as well. She has a phenomenal journey from what I've read. And she's just going to share with us some business tips, everything from the beauty industry to what she's doing now. So I'm ready to dive into it.
We got a boss in here. Been doing this. She's worked with great people, the experience, and I know she has some great tips and stories for everybody maybe thinking about getting into the industry.
Yep, and definitely she looks gorgeous. Her hair, by the way, and she has like this cute heart dimple ring. That's so cute, y'all. So yeah, how's it going?
It's awesome. I mean, I don't know, to see Atlanta changing, to see this industry growing, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So how did you get started in the industry?
So I grew up, I went to Performing Arts High School. I went to Tri-Cities High School.
Okay.
It's a visual and performing arts school. And I was performing. And so I had to find a job to support my acting. And I was like, why not makeup? I would help in the shows and do all of those things. And so I started at a little kiosk in the mall here. I'm from Atlanta.
Okay, which mall?
Greenbrier.
Okay,
I was on the south side.
Yeah.
So I started at Bavanti. Shout out to Bavanti Cosmetics. And I just loved it. I loved getting people, making people feel beautiful.
Yeah.
I got addicted.
Yeah.
I was more addicted to that than performing.
Oh, yeah. I love it. So you've always been like a makeup fanatic, or were you like that child who played in your mom's makeup? Or?
Yes. Yeah. So my mother sold Mary Kay, but she never sold a dime of Mary Kay.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, those big old kits. I don't know. You may be too young, but they were like huge.
No, yeah, I use Mary Kay.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she does Mary Kay now too.
Oh, okay. So I would play in that, and I think by the time I was like 6 or 7, my mother's a photographer, and she would say, well, my daughter can help you, with your makeup, and people would be like, what? And I really could help them with their eyeliner, so I loved it. And I think it was more so as I got older, I was in love with Janet Jackson. I was like, Janet. Oh my gosh, she's everything. And I just wanted to just try to do whatever she did. So I would look in the magazines and I would practice and play. And then my friends would say, oh, do that for me. And that's kind of how it all started.
So that was high school, or that was after high school?
Well, after high school, a lot of my friends got signed to different labels and things like that. And I was performing, and people started asking me to do their headshots. People started asking me to do their album packaging because they would go to New York and LA, and they would deal with makeup artists, and they didn't like it. They were like, I don't look like myself.
Yeah.
Because during that time, this was like the 90s. I graduated in 96, so people had a different style. Like New York had a very Broadway style of makeup.
Yeah.
And LA, it was this fresh face thing, but Atlanta was funky.
Yeah.
And we weren't represented, and they wanted an Atlanta style, and that's something that we were establishing at that time.
So so you got out of school, you started doing makeup. So a lot of people, they take the cosmetology route, they go to cosmetology school, but you didn't go to cosmetology school. So talk to us a little bit about how that experience was different from somebody who may have went to school, and what you learned.
Well, so I come from a cosmetology kind of background a little bit. My stepmother had 2 salons, and my sister is a hairstylist. So I knew a lot about it. I grew up in it, and I was like, well, I'm going to just go get my license. But when I went to school, I literally in the first week, twice I enrolled, and I got called to go on tours. So it was like, Sierra called. I was like, no, I'm going.
When Sierra called, you got to go.
I know. I'm still waiting for her to call.
So, but it was interesting because I was doing wardrobe for that. It wasn't even
it wasn't makeup.
I've done some of everything because of just growing up and performing.
Yeah, and you've come from like a creative background. So all of your family sounds like is creative industry.
They are.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you self-taught yourself? So I know like when you go to school, you can go and they teach you a little bit more about makeup, or maybe the history behind makeup, or like undertones and all of that stuff. So how hard, if it was hard for you, was it to self-teach yourself all of that stuff?
Well, at that time it was a small industry, so you could really go to people And if you had that passion, you could really work up under people. I didn't necessarily become an assistant to someone, but I was always ready. You know, so if someone called me, I was like, yo, I got a caboodle.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Yeah.
And I think my passion and hunger is what really attracted people to me. And I was fearless. I was putting stuff on people's faces that shouldn't be. Like, it was like, we're going to do editorial every day. You know, I was really excited about it. So, yeah.
That's good. So let's get into branding. Yeah. So how did you first begin branding yourself?
Okay, so I think when we started considering it was branding, because that's like kind of this decade terminology. So I started doing makeup after Bavanti. I went to do makeup at Lennox because I was like, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
And at that time, they were just starting a color company in Victoria's Secret. So I became like an assistant manager to that situation.
Okay.
And when they asked me what did I want to be called, I was like, well, so my real name is Shellis.
Okay.
But people in the South say Shellis or Shellis, you know, and it was like, that's not it. That's not fly. It's not sexy. Nothing about that. So my middle name is Jendea. And I was like, well,
oh, that's pretty.
Playing around with it. I was like, well, you can just call me Day. So within a year and a half, I think more people knew me as Day than Shellis, you know, and it was something that just stuck. So I think the first thing is, in my lesson in branding, was figuring out, who do you want to be? You know? And I think that's what anybody, what's the name? And then from there, it took a while for me to get a portfolio. Like, I think most people, and especially back then, because we were using film. So, you know, people really had to want to work with you to actually create negatives and figure this out for you. So I was like the life of the party everywhere I went. I would just big hair, lashes, whatever it was, you know, I'm like, you're going to know I'm a makeup artist. And I had a mentor. I was saying earlier, I did wardrobe because I had a mentor who was a costume designer. And I remember one day I changed my hair. I used to wear like this big Afro type hair.
Like Diana Ross?
Yeah. And she was like, don't ever do that. She was like, when you walk on set, everyone should know that you are the makeup artist. It should never be a question of what you do. They shouldn't have to ask you.
Yeah.
So from that moment, I knew it was me. It's about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the most successful people, with the exception of Pat McGrath, most people are always done. You're going to see a makeup artist, a stylist. You're going to know that they do something.
Yeah, that's true.
Industry.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people need to realize that because, you know, we do the podcast and we also are in the hair industry, and a lot of people, they're like, oh, how do I sell hair? How do I sell hair? And we're like, you have to be a walking billboard, like 100% a walking billboard. And this is just, you know, more proof that it's so true. It works.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, well, images in our society, image is 90% of it.
Yeah.
You know, can you sell the package by just looking at you, you know? And if you can, then people are more willing to hire you than even if you're good. They can help you be good. They can help you look good. Like, you know, they can't help you have the it.
Yeah.
The it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I work with a lot of people and people are like, well, why did this person make it? They had it. You know, they had it, and they also had the balls to not be afraid.
Yeah. So did building your brand that way, did that kind of help you with building your clientele? And then what was the difference between customers who kind of just came or clients who came back? Like, what was that experience that you gave them when they came to sit in your chair?
So a long time ago, firstly, being an entrepreneur is one of the greatest spiritual walks you'll have. Like, you have to have a faith that's ridiculous because you don't know when your next check is coming. So I had a bad breakup, and I did this prayer one day, and I was like, God, I swear I'll dedicate everything I do to you if I just don't have to look for work. I just never want to look for work. I want my phone to ring. And it's been like that now, and it's been 22 years.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was I started making this, I guess you can say my slogan was makeup is my ministry.
I love that.
And most people come to me, not just because I do good makeup, but because I really am into you as a person. And now, after being in it 22 years, I've done them. I've done their mothers. I've done their children. You know what I mean? So it's like generations of people that I'm like, I remember when you were going to prom, and now I'm helping your daughter get ready.
That's so amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome. It's definitely, makeup is probably even more personal than hair because you're literally face to face. Yeah. So you get a chance to see someone's vulnerability. You see their hurt. You see what's behind everything. Yeah. And because I pride myself in being very sensitive to that, I think people really come to me for just that in itself.
And I think that's good because sometimes like hairstylists or makeup artists, it's all about the money. So like you go and they don't really care what you have going on, or they don't care about certain things. They just want to get you in and out. So that's really good that you're able to, build that relationship with your clients for sure.
So, I totally agree with you about entrepreneurship, especially when you're just starting a business, how incredibly tough it is. I mean, it's, and the thing is, a lot of people give up, like they're just about to get over that hump and they're just like, I can't do it anymore. And I just give up. Right. So what are, like, during that period, what are some tough times that you can think of, like a story or something that happened to you as an entrepreneur that almost gave you, made you give up, but then you just said, you know what, I'm sticking with this. I have to keep going. This is my ministry. And you kept moving on.
Yeah. I'm going to say that's happening to me now because so I got married and I had a child. And for me, I made 90% of my money with men. So a lot of women are my clients, but the people who hire me tend to be men when it comes to companies. Yeah. And when I got married, they disappeared. All the men just were like, and I was like, why is my phone not ringing? I'm confused. And one of my best friends, who is a designer who passed away recently, named Michael Knight, I had to call him up, and I was like, listen, I don't know what's going on, but this is not happening. Like, my husband liked who I am. Yeah. He's not going to like who I am without the presence of other men in my life, because you all helped me to be me. You know what I mean? You helped me to establish business, to be creative, to bounce ideas off of. I can't just everything be now I'm married and I'm just with my husband. Yeah. Who does that? Maybe in a different generation, but not this generation. We are not the same as our parents, so it's really important. It's really important to just make sure that when you're going through those times, you have your core crew of people that help fight with you to get past those things. You know, like, if you're going to be in this business, you have to have a team of people that you can rely on. That's how you make money. You never make money alone. Yeah. You have to, so the best money opportunities I've had is when there was a photographer I work with, a stylist, a hairstylist, and we all referred each other
and collaborated. Yeah.
So I think those things, right now in my life, revamping, I'm 40 now. I just turned 40.
Well, you look good. Okay. You look good.
No, thank you. So I just turned 40, and at this point, realizing that there are a lot of things I don't want to do anymore. Your business changes. And that's the beauty of having your own business. You can change. So now there are a lot of things that I want to promote differently and do differently. And I will consider myself a trendsetter in this industry. And whenever I see everybody going this way, I always go
the opposite way.
Yeah. So that's but within that, it's a hard thing to sit here and say, I'm going to go in a whole nother direction. And that takes time, and it takes patience. And I don't mind the downtime. I've learned to not mind the downtime. I've learned to realize that there is another level of creativity that's going to come from this. You know what I mean? That's still, I may not be working. So you also do learn other ways of revenues of income. You learn other ways of making money, so that you can give yourself the ability to revamp. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when I look at what I'm trying to do and trying to scale our business, we've gone from 2 employees to 10 employees to almost 20 now. Total, it's almost 50 people that work like contractors and everything else for the business, right? And for a while, I was just so busy all the time, right? And it goes exactly what you're saying is, you know, when you have that downtime, I've learned that when I have that downtime, that's when I can actually think. That's when I start getting these big ideas, and I come in here to tell the team, guys, I got this idea. And they're like, how did he come up with this one? You know, and sometimes, like, you know, for me, I think you're the same way. Like, I'm a hustler. Like, I can work morning, day, night. I don't care. Like, we're going to do this, whatever it takes. But sometimes as you're a more experienced entrepreneur like myself and yourself, you know, you realize you have to take a step back sometimes and say, hold on, like, let's make sure the thought process is right. What else is there out there? You know, what am I missing? Because when you're working so hard all the time, you miss a lot of stuff.
You do. And sometimes you will realize I spent all this time going in this direction and I'm late because it's already out here and I didn't even see it because I'm not focused on anybody but what I'm thinking is right. You know, yeah, I've learned it took a lot to appreciate that, but as you get older, and especially with social media, it makes you feel late. All the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to shut it down sometimes just so you can figure out where are you at creatively. I know you didn't ask this question, but I will say I think that's the biggest downfall to an extent that I see about new artists is that so many people are caught up in what's happening that they don't dig deep and figure out what am I doing? What's my purpose? And
because they're so focused on.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, I think in a lot of makeup artists that I see like on Instagram and stuff, a lot of their work kind of looks similar. You know, the brows are kind of similar, the eye looks are kind of similar. And I think it's because they all study each other. You know,
I mean, and I think it's a difference. Makeup is a beautiful thing because it's a skill, but then there's also an art. Some people have a great skill. They've learned to master the formulations. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then there are people who are true artists in what they do, and they're trying to anti all of those things. You know, they're like, okay, I don't really want to have that formulation. I don't want to do that. You know, I think there's nothing wrong with either.
And I think, you know, talking about, let's go back to the 90s, right? So we're very close in age and everything else. So, you know, I got a few years on her. But, you know, you go back to the 90s and it hit me when you said about like the negatives, and it's like film. It's not like today where everything's digital. You can just shoot as much video as you want because it don't cost anything. Like I used to use these little cassette things and everything else, or like photography was actual film, and it's like you take a roll of pictures. That was expensive. Right? But then you think about today with social media and how fast trends, because we're talking about trends, how fast everything can move. So you can have like a new beauty trend can go like viral within a week. You know, it's on Shade Room, features some celebrities and everything else. It's millions and millions of people, where back in the day is not that far ago, but like in the 90s, okay, you had to do this big shoot. You had to do the film, this, that, the other. It had to be published in those things called magazines, which people used to read, not blogs and social media posts. So today, like a trend can hit and everyone can be doing it like this. Where, you know, back in the 90s, it seems like it would be something like you could have some new trend and you're kind of ahead of everybody because it gets printed and you're kind of like the first, and then it takes like everyone else a month or two to catch up because magazines and these editorials are every other month, something like that. And
I will say this, everyone didn't believe they were supposed to follow them. In the 90s and before, a lot of things were just art. So what you saw in Vogue was Vogue. It wasn't that people were trying to walk on the street and look like that. And I think that's what happened with a lot of makeup. People are walking around with photo shoot makeup on. And it's a Tuesday. And it's because we are becoming the art. And we're not, and beyond imitating it, we are the art walking around every day. So now it's losing a lot of value in a way. You know what I mean? But I still think it's room because things always transition.
For sure.
And and I really think that what's happening now is going to be a new it's like an anti-culture that's going on. It's like the kids who are 25 and under, they're like, bump all of that. You know, they're doing they're way more creative. It reminds me of us in the 90s. Like, I went to this spot called Bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard.
Yeah,
and I was looking around. I was like, they look just like us. Like, oh my God, these are the same kids. It's like how we walked around. And it makes me feel great because I know that trend is natural is coming back.
Yeah.
You know, like,
oh
you
yeah.
and your natural hair. I love
Girl,
it. You know,
it's a struggle.
But-
Okay.
but it's coming back because you can never be more beautiful than you. So if you're constantly attempting to be something else, you never find that you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's fun to play dress up, but then it really comes down to, okay, so you have no edges. You have no eyebrows. You have no hair. You know what I mean? So it comes down to that, and I think that that's where trend is really going, and it's going to be a really fly, dope thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of trends are coming back. Like, everything is always full circle.
Yeah.
Because, like, you see, we're wearing bell bottoms now. We're doing the, big hair, like you said, natural hair. It's just all coming back around.
Yeah.
It's like, my parents used to do that. My grandparents used to do that.
But it's a little different. I'll speak on being African American. We spent since this is about hair, we spent 100 years learning how to make our hair like someone else, and we mastered it.
Yeah.
But imagine spending 100 years learning what to do with our hair to be our hair, like your specific hair, it's going to be walking art that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
It's about, like, the new trend is going to be something so magnificent because there isn't, like, people or other cultures will be wearing weave like our hair.
Yeah.
Where we couldn't
They do it now.
it.
They're starting to do it now, like with the
Right.
Afro kinky,
Exactly.
4C natural hair.
Yeah.
But I'm
Been-
saying other cultures are like, we've been wearing long, like 30, 40 inches of
and
hair.
all of their natural long hair, they're going to be wanting
and
to
they're
wear.
going to be,
Yeah.
but we haven't had the opportunity to see those images of us since when we were wearing naturals, and back in the day, it was more of a militant stance. Now it's really fashionable. It's more than just that, you know.
I wish you could see Simi. She has like this big, not a fro, but they're more like crochet curls. And it's like, it's really pretty. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's dope. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
And Atlanta's the forefront of our culture now. Like, a lot of people didn't like that that's what was happening, but Atlanta has been influencing this culture since the 90s, since LaFace. Since LaFace. LaFace changed the game. Marie Brown, Gwyneth Mosby, those people, they were doing things like, Marie did that first Toni Braxton cut. She did that first T-Boss cut, you know, like Atlanta, that Pebbles color. Like, people hadn't seen color like that on Black women, you know, before Marie Brown. We've been influencing stuff, like, even with Black men, when that was like first popping, they would come to Atlanta and shoot with us. You know what I mean? Like, so to see how, and I'm gonna say this too, if you go to any BT event, any Black event, most of the people that are doing the glam, they may not live here anymore, but they came and they got their craft in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But they left to make money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now money is here, so that's a great thing.
That's true. Yeah. So about products, like, what are some of your favorite products that you just swear by? Like, you gotta use these products.
So I have two types of things. I have my natural products that I think that you can find every day in your turmeric is a great exfoliator.
Ooh, okay.
You can use yogurt and turmeric. You can use turmeric and Vaseline. Those things are really great to exfoliate and to brighten dark circles, all of those things.
Use that.
Elbows, knees.
What kind of yogurt?
You never used it?
like a plain white yogurt. White yogurt, and you let that dry as a mask. The Vaseline is something you can do after you get out the bath, and it help your elbows and stuff. That so I will also say I really do like grapeseed oil. It's the best moisturizer that you can use. Like, you'll be so shocked at what it does to your body. But as far as like makeup products and things, so I like I'm not married to a line. I think it depends on the face. It depends on the person. But I I do like a lot of Laura Mercier because it's very light. It's very like their Radiance primer is really beautiful. It's really good for TV.
Okay.
So
TV
most
makeup.
of what I do now a lot is TV.
Gotcha.
So I use a lot of more Laura Mercier for TV. I have some Marc Jacobs as well. I like Fenty as well, but I like that for more photo shoots. I think it's a little heavier, but it looks really, really good in photos.
With the Fenty product, I hear a lot of women say that they love the Fenty like highlighter foundation. Do you think that it's overrated because it's Rihanna's, or do you think that it works as well just like any other NARS or MAC or something that's been around a little longer?
Do I think it's overrated? No, I think it's for what she gives. If you like that, I think it's dope. I do think that so there are only a few distributors.
Yeah.
So, everybody's getting
they
their
are.
products for the
it's
same.
it's her name, but I mean, as far as the product, the real product development, everything else, trust me,
That's
Rihanna
what I
did
mean.
not
Like, do you think
touch
that people say
But I
like,
will
oh,
say,
this
though,
is so
I mean,
good, but
I'm
it's
sure
like
she
an
had some-
illusion because it's
she had some
Rihanna.
creative,
Yeah,
like,
but I will
colors.
say that she made, I think that she made, as many years as she's had in this business, I think that she definitely made some decisions as to what she may have wanted to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
It's
no,
the science
she's not.
behind it,
Yeah, but there,
you know.
but she,
And I love Riri. Trust me, I'm
Yeah,
not saying
you know
anything
you
bad.
love
This
Riri.
is just how business works.
Yeah.
You know, she still has. In another episode, I said how I was waiting for Rihanna to DM me back. This hasn't happened. It's okay. It's okay.
It's
I know
coming.
she's
It's
busy. It's
coming.
coming. That's
It's
why I gotta
coming.
keep doing these episodes. You know.
yeah, it's coming.
But yeah, I mean, I think, with music and with the brands and everything else, they have to get behind or do their own thing or get behind stuff because it's not in the actual music anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No. I mean, but that's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
It's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I think they do.
That's the good thing. Business keeps transitioning.
Let's look at it. The people that have done that make a lot more money than say 20 years ago, even if if you take inflation into part, like people that did records and stuff, they had money, but not like the Diddy money, like the Ciroc and like all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level.
But I think that's in any business when you start to merge and you see like when you like I said, I have a baby, so I'm looking at Pampers. They all have Disney characters on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you merge in two businesses, you're going to have a lot more opportunities.
Yeah.
So I think is really smart. As long as you're not in a 360 deal, where they're taking everything.
Everything.
But but it's even beautiful now because the internet allows some people so much more freedom.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's so many smaller brands that you may not make superstar money, but you can still make a good amount of money by, merging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's what this new generation is teaching a lot of us.
Mhm.
They're teaching us business that we know the foundations of business, but they're teaching us how to do it creatively. And that's something that we didn't have as much as back then. You had Russell Simmons, who was definitely ahead of his time. You had L.A. Reid, but you definitely did not have the lack of fear. Even to this day, I look at little younger people, not little, I was going to say my little niece, but younger people, and I see how they just throw anything online. They're like, oh, I'm thinking an hour before I put something on there because I'm older and I know that this is, but that fearlessness is what makes money. It really does
That's
allow
very
people
true,
to
actually.
make money.
That's very true.
That's super true. So let's go in a different direction and start talking about your creative directing.
Okay.
So how long have you been creative directing? When did you start? And then what are you working on now with the creative directing?
So I think from the beginning, I was doing it. I actually love that more than the makeup.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I feel like makeup plays a part.
Gotcha.
But it's the overall direction.
Yeah.
So I'm that makeup artist that goes on set that has to talk to the person doing lighting. I have to talk to the cameraman.
Yeah.
I have to make sure like where is she gonna be?
Yeah.
What is gonna happen?
Yeah.
How's it gonna
So it looks good.
and they look at me crazy because I guess a lot of people don't ask these questions.
You
Yeah.
have the experience.
But
Right.
and I know that if the makeup fails, everything fails.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What else did you ask?
So wait, she got into it.
I got
like,
into that because I'm like, I feel like that's important.
Yeah, it is.
I guess let me just sidebar this. I think it's really important for makeup artists to understand what the products do. because that's why you asked what's my favorite products. It depends on lighting. It depends on what is happening. And that the chemistry of it is really important. And a lot of people don't really understand chemistry. Like, what is titanium dioxide? What is it? What are these products doing?
Yeah.
And so it makes me, as an artist, have to ask so many questions because I don't want to see the mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and my client has white rings around her face. It's only because you didn't ask enough questions a lot of times. Like, are they going on red carpet? It's going to be flashes. So you can't use the same products in flash photography.
That's good.
You know what I mean? To know that. So anyway, but go ahead.
So what are you doing with creative directing now? Like, what are some of your, or I'll ask you that after you answer this.
So my husband and I are in the process of starting a company called the Byrd Group. And basically what we're doing is there are a lot of, so I've been working with a lot of big brands, but there are a lot of people who are creating small brands. And I want to take everything that I've learned from these big brands to help them jump up a notch, you know, because right now people are having to jump. It's like you got to be full-fledged out there. And what I'm doing is helping them to create all of their visual marketing packaging. You know what I mean? So whether or not it's their websites, images for their websites or images for their packaging or whatever it is, that's what we're doing. And video, my husband's a videographer. So
you just merged the two together and boom, there we go.
Yeah.
So what have been some of your biggest or proudest projects that you've worked on as a creative director?
Let's do some name dropping.
Yeah.
Well, as a creative director, that's hard. It's been so many different things that I worked on. I think I can more easily say as a makeup artist.
Okay.
Those are, you know, because those are like clients that are probably more standouts to a lot of people. So I've worked with probably over 60 different celebrities, but a lot of people know me for working with Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
I was with her I'm gonna say in the biggest highlight of the coming up of her her career. It was great. It was like walking pop art. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I really feel like I had an opportunity to influence an industry because before her, people were not wearing color.
Yeah,
color
not as
was
much.
not. It was really glamour. I mean, you saw color in MAC. You know, if you went to the MAC store.
Yeah.
But overall, we really weren't wearing color. There were so many women of color who wouldn't wear a pink lip.
Yeah, or like that blue ice blue.
Yeah, they wouldn't wear those colors. There's a good and bad with that. It's always a good and bad with trend because you didn't mean to see it at the bank. I didn't mean to see it, you know, the way. You never know how people are going to use it. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. And we sold, I mean, I know I helped Mac sell a lot of makeup. You know, so that was a great thing. I think that was pretty cool. I also, Chili was a client of mine for a long time, so that was total opposite. It was just natural beauty, and that was a beautiful thing to do. It took a lot for me to learn that because that wasn't my thing. People came to me for editorial stuff. People came to me specifically to do wild, crazy things that other people wouldn't do.
Dramatic.
Yeah, I was very like. I'm that dramatic. I'm the person that was on set that if it was multiple makeup artists, people would be like,
I want her.
Or they would say they want her, but other makeup artists would be like, oh, here day comes. I don't know what she's going to do. You know, they just didn't know what I was going to do because I wasn't afraid to do something different.
That's good. Yeah.
Zakiyrah always looks at me when she starts running out of stuff.
It's like, yeah, what do you have to bring?
So you got all this stuff. As far as just to touch on marketing real quick, besides the referrals, right, and coming from the 90s, right, when you started and having to go through a lot of these changes into, you know, really everything social media wise started about 2008, 9, 10 with Instagram and everything else. What have you had to do to change kind of your marketing strategy? Because obviously as a business owner, marketing is so important.
Yeah,
it is.
You know, and you can't be 100% reliant always on referrals. So what if some of the changes, or how did you get into it with your marketing?
So I'm really late. I got on social media. Firstly, the dumbest thing I didn't do is when I was working with Nikki, I was really not on social media. I hated it. I was like, I don't have time. Like, who has time? But now I force myself to do it with my Instagram. Like, I do. So Facebook is really different for me because Facebook is mostly my friends. It's like people I grew up with.
It's more intimate.
It's way more intimate, but I actually get more work off Facebook because that's my resources. That's my network. Those people have been rocking with me for 20-something years. So it's like with all the 5,000 people that I have on there, there's always an event. Yeah. So that's a little easier for me. But with Instagram, I get a lot of younger people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those are the people, and I get new people. I get people who are just referred to me from there. But as long as I'm posting, I'm gonna get work from there. So I make it a point to at least post every day. Like you gotta post something. Just post something. But I look at younger people or people who like you, which is dope. You have a team of people who are doing this for you. And after my baby gets out of Pampers, I probably do all that. You know, but you have to figure out as a business owner how you can do your business effectively. Yeah. You know, and for me, I'm going to say this. People look at their business and some people need a lot of people to follow them. They need a lot of people to invest in what they're doing. And then there are people who look in their business and they just need the right people. And I decided I wanted the right people. Yeah. So I made my prices to where I make enough money to do what I need to do for me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think, but there's so many different things that I've done. I've worked in salons, which was great money. You know what I mean? Because you're sitting there and you pay a small amount every week and people are coming in. I don't have the patience for that now. Like I love much more of a creative thought process. I don't want people coming to me for the eyebrow. Like I'm not there. I may not want to do the eyebrow. I may want to do something different. You know what I mean? But I
don't want to do them brows like that.
and I would really tell my client that's not for me. Or there are certain clients that I've turned away because they wanted to look like everybody else. Yeah. I'm like, that's not for me. Yeah. You're not helping me grow. It's just a check. I want to grow. Yeah. You know.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you get to a point in your life, or at least entrepreneurship, you kind of you reach a certain level where you can really do what you want. Yeah. You know, and that's so important, and that's really earned by time, because I can tell you, like, the first couple years of entrepreneurship, you are the CEO, the janitor, the social media person, the web developer, and everything else.
You are.
So you do courses as well. So I've seen, like, you know, a lot of makeup artists are doing courses right now, training courses. So what's something that sets your one-on-one courses apart from everyone else's?
First of all, it's one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. One-on-one. and the reason why I do that, so I've trained a lot of makeup artists. Like, at one point, I was the makeup artist. Like, most of my clients were makeup artists. Wow. And I really want you to understand chemistry. I want you to understand to not approach each face the same. Yeah. I want you to understand. So my one-on-ones is me, you, and a model. Okay. So you have to bring a model, and I don't want a perfect person. Bring someone who's older. Bring someone who has acne. Bring some so you can learn. Yeah. And I'm really interested in you learning and having a clear understanding. Now, you're not going to get everything from a one class or a week. I do like one class and then I do like week-long classes. But you're going to understand the chemistry of what you're doing.
I like that.
Whether or not you have the talent, that's up to you. But you're going to know formulas. Yeah. Like, I do a lot of girls now who are going into college because they want to hustle. Yeah. And they're like, and I'm like, well, if you're going to do it, you need to be able to bring something good to the table. So I'll help you do that.
For sure.
And I think you have to understand the theory behind business. Yeah. Whatever your craft is, you really have to learn the theory behind it. So like what you teach them, and I totally get it because I relate it to a lot of the stuff we do with people starting their own hair business or other stuff that we work on. It's like once you understand the theory, it's kind of like, okay, these are the building blocks. Now it's time for you to start building.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's experience.
Yeah.
Making mistakes and messing up a few brows.
And I think a lot of classes like that I see now, it's all about just let me show you how to do these brows. Let me show you what product to use. But it's not about this can damage this skin type or if they have sensitive skin or, you know, what products look better with the lighting, like you what you were saying. So I think that's good that you actually go through and teach people how to do that. And what mixes and all of that stuff. So that's really good. But if someone is interested in taking one of your classes, where can they find you at to, you know, get registered for a class?
So they can either hit me up on my website, which is daybyrd.com, or any social media. MUA Daybyrd is my Instagram, email, daybyrd2015@gmail. You know, like I'm available.
Okay.
You know, just hit me up. I'm a very casual person. I like to keep things casual because I've been up here in the industry and everything, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be a very comfortable situation. I like to make new makeup artists feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Because when I came up, it wasn't a comfortable thing.
Yeah.
It was you have to take it because no one's going to give it to you. And I think that at this age, I want to gracefully give what I have to the new generation because I don't want them to be taken advantage of. There's so many things that I really would hope that will change for us, like residual income. I really feel like, you know, there's so many ways that one thing, we talked a little bit about business, but the one thing that we have to really get on, I think, is really understanding our business and teaching that new generation.
Yeah.
If they listen, a lot of times it's hard to because people think they want it, you know. But there are some really good ways of handling business and understanding how you're supposed to get paid. What, like a lot of people, the first thing I ask people when they say, well, how much do you charge for this and that? What is it for? Because if this is going to make money, then I need to make money. If this is something that is going for promotional use, then that's different. You're not making money off of it. You know what I mean? And is this something that is going to be making money for years and years and years? You know what I mean? Like, so you get paid. My face, I charge according to what is the face worth. I had a superstar client who was like, so you gonna charge me more? You right. And let me tell you why. Because when I deal with you, I have to have an attorney. I have to have a publicist. I have to have a FedEx account. I have to have so many more things. I have to have an assistant.
Yeah.
When I do this girl for a party, she just come to my house or she come to my studio or wherever and get her face done. And then I can be done.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to really understand how are people using what you're doing. It makes a big difference because you have to look at yourself as a company. Yeah. And you have to say, if I'm a company, I'm not just a girl who does makeup. I'm a company and I'm merging with a major brand. And if I'm merging with this brand, how is this person is making what, $20,000, let's say on a small scale, $20,000 for an appearance. That face is worth how much? How much is that face worth? How many blogs is that face going to be on? How many, magazines will this face go through? Like, how many people are going to be talking about this face? Yeah. How many products are being sold because of this face? And if you have a client who not selling no products, they not work, you can't charge people for those things. Yeah. I mean, you can, as an artist, say, this is just my rate. Yeah. And this is what I charge. And that's fine. But I also realize you can lose at that, too. You can lose out on money. No one has a set number in any major business. Target is not saying this is the set number and that's it. You know what I mean? Nordstrom's is not saying this is the set. Yeah. No, the numbers change every year.
So let's talk about pricing. What do you think is too low for a full face makeup for just, someone coming in for
I don't think there's a too low. I think it depends on what you're getting. Like if you're going to a salon and someone wants to charge $50 and they have all NYX products and products that are they're not spending a whole lot. Yeah. Then I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I think makeup is for different things and different people. But if someone has to come to you, ride, you know, they leave their home, pack their stuff, ride in traffic for an hour, go sit there while you eat, take a shower, all this stuff, you know, and then have to worry about this face. They have to literally worry, is this face going to last? Is this face going to look good in all different light? That costs more. Yeah. Because you take a lot more of my time. You take a lot more of my energy and my artistry. So, you know, I think that we have to start looking at it in terms of what is it costing us? What is it taking for us to do it? And what are they making from this? Yeah. You know, what is the value of what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. So if it was one thing that you could leave with our listeners, what would you tell them? Like one tip or one piece of advice, what would it be?
Find your best you.
And
like whatever that is. Yeah. Find your best you. Know that you have something to offer. I don't care how many people do it. You have something to offer.
Yep. I think it's important because there's so many, everything is really just it's a cycle. Like everything is happening over and over again. You know, there's a lot of people who have hair businesses, you know, that we work with, but you really do have to find out how do you stand out? Like what makes you, what makes your company different from the next company? Because there's tons of brands that have the same thing, like tissue brands, cell phone brands, like everything. So I like that. Find what makes you. Yeah. Yep. So shout out to Byrd for hanging out with us. She said her website is daybyrd.com. That's Day, D-A-Y, Byrd with a Y.
Zakiyrah, don't worry. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we will put it in the show notes, but I wanted to make sure everybody had it. So just tell us again, what's your social media?
Daybyrd.com.
Yep, daybyrd.com.
And my Instagram is MUA Daybyrd.
All right. So shout out for Byrd for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you so much. You're welcome. And make sure you can subscribe to Hair Biz Radio to make sure you can keep listening to awesome guests like today's. And we'll check you next time on Hair Biz Radio.
All right, guys.